As Iran and the US gear up for round two of nuclear negotiations, the diplomatic chessboard is more active than ever. American officials are in France, Saudis are in Tehran, and Qatari diplomats are in Moscow. And the United Nations nuclear watchdog is sounding the alarm from Tehran. Iran may be dangerously close to assembling a nuclear weapon. Now, Iran International has obtained exclusive details. Iran has floated a three-phase proposal limiting uranium enrichment in exchange for US sanctions relief. There's a lot at play, and who better to break it down than someone who's been on the inside? Today on Eye for Iran, we're joined by Hossein Alizadeh, a former Iranian diplomat who defected to Europe more than a decade ago, and author of Revisiting the Ummah, Evolution and Narrative. As someone who once operated inside the Islamic Republic's diplomatic system, he offers a rare insight into its mindset and motivations.
Whatever they say, they believe in bringing Islam to the power in whole world against the Western liberal democracy. We've seen a dramatic change in behavior of Khamenei. Diplomacy for them is not just as diplomacy for the other countries, but for Khamenei, diplomacy is a tool. He used it as instrument so that to trick people that I am a rational person, my country, Iran under me is a normal country like the others, but in fact, he said that I am a revolutionary person. The reality is dictating on him that in this situation, internally because of the economic problems inside Iran and tension almost with many parts of the world, particularly with Israel and the United States, and nowadays with the European Union as well. If you are commitment to welcome inspectors from IAEA to come and visit your program to show that it is peaceful, then why you don't welcome a special rapporteur of another agency to come to Iran only for 1 day, only for 1 hour, only for 1 minute? Absolutely, they don't allow them to come. So here's the point. To my understanding, Negar, the nuclear program is like this: switch on, switch off, switch on, switch off.
I'm Negar Moshahedi, and this is Eye for Iran. Hossein Alizadeh, a former Islamic Republic diplomat and author of Revisiting the Ummah, Evolution and Narrative, joins us now. Thank you for being here, Hossein.
Hello, Negar. Thank you for inviting me. Good to be with you.
It's a pleasure. Now, there's a lot to unpack as the U.S. and Iran head into another round of nuclear talks, of course. But I want to start with your story. I'm fascinated with your journey. You were once part of the Islamic Republic's, diplomatic corps, and then you defected. Tell us about that and what drove you to leave.
Well, when the Islamic Revolution succeeded in Iran in 1979, I was 13. So I was from the very generation that believing in Khomeini. So I voluntarily participated in war against Saddam Hussein. So I was totally believing in Khomeini and the idea of political Islam. And then because of being in war, so it gave me a chance to join Iran Foreign Ministry. I've been serving in Foreign Ministry for almost 22 years, up to the Green Movement when erupted in 2009. In which I myself witnessed that the election was manipulated so that they can re-elect Ahmadinejad. But worse than that they manipulated the election, they killed people in the streets. And I've received the news that this is really true. At that time, I have been the charge d'affaires of Iran in Helsinki, Finland. So back to that time, very briefly, member of the my colleagues in different countries, in Brussels, in Vienna, in Norway, in Italy, we decided to step down for our career and protesting that why they are cracking down people, innocent people. So it was the time that we were named as um, green diplomats because of the green movement. They called me green diplomats. So it was the time that I stepped down from my career, and then I continued my studies at Tampere University. And I have authored that book that you referred to, that the Ummah. Then also, I had the chance to be a freelancer journalist, to have some 2,100 interviews with different medias, BBC, Voice of America, Iran International, and so on and so forth. And also, I have authored some 700 articles in different international issues and
Oh, wow. So
development
that
happening
really
around the
opened
world.
up your mindset, Hossein. When you look back, I'm just curious, what do you think? How do you view all those years that, you were believing in this, in Khomeinism and in political Islam? When you look back, do you look at it as all a big lie, or what do you think?
It's not only my story, it's story of a generation, millions of people who believing in Khomeini as a sacred person who was a sign of bringing happiness for Iranians. But soon after that, we've seen that he has created all these lies over lies, so that he can create an ummah, so he can be the leader of that ummah. And that is why I will come back to this, but that is why I have authored this book, Revisiting the Ummah, narration and evolution and narrative. So the book speaks about how what the definition of the ummah is really, and how does it work to bring a kind of mindset for you as a Muslim to join to political Islam. When we say the political Islam, means that it is not a theology; it is an ideology. It is an ideology that wants to gain the power and bring the ruling of Islam. So, and who would be the ruler? Khomeini. So this is what I understood quite very far, long time later, and totally changed my mind. Particularly when the Green Movement erupted in Iran, was a moment that I always describe it as reborn for myself.
Wow, so it was like you were born again, a very defining moment in your life. And it also gives you a very unique lens that you have, and a very unique perspective that you're able to analyze how the Islamic Republic officials, what they're thinking and their mindset, because you were part of this system at one time that you left behind. So tell me, how do they operate when it comes to diplomacy and negotiations as they're headed into the second round here?
Let me quote Khamenei. Once he says something very important, significant statement that nobody take it seriously. Once he had a meeting with the Iranian diplomats around the world, in Tehran, of course, and he said that you are diplomats and go and do your job, but I am a revolutionary. You see, diplomacy for them is not just as diplomacy for the other countries. So you are a normal country. You want to have a close relation with your neighbors, with the other countries around the world. So you use the diplomacy to settle the program and difficulties if happens between you and the other country. But for Khamenei, diplomacy is a tool. He used it as instrument, so that to trick people that I am a rational person. I am a no my country, Iran under me is a normal country like the others, but in fact he said that I am a revolutionary person. What is the revolution? The revolution is going to uprising to make a turmoil, to change the existing system so that you bring it down. Then you come to the power, like what happened in Iran when the Shah was in power, and they bring it down and they come to. But when now, as a leader at the highest level, a person in Iran, when he say now I am a revolutionary, what do they mean? What does he mean by this? Here's the point I have highlighted in the book, saying that when he says that I am a revolutionary, he says that I want to I am a revolutionary against the existing international system, which is formed after a bloody war, Second World War. So in that international system, one is on the top, and that is the United States of America. So still he thinks that he is a revolutionary person to fight against that devil or against that great Satan, as you remember. This is the term they use. So he believes in this, that he is a revolutionary to bring down that devil and again to make the ummah. So what does the ummah here means? I have underscored that when we say ummah, if you look up the dictionary, yeah, for in dictionary the ummah means a society of Muslim faith.
Yes, indeed.
It's very neutral. It's very neutral. Society of Muslim faith. But in this meaning, I am giving because I've studied international relation. I am by using my knowledge in international relation, I am saying when they say we want to create ummah, they want to create Muslim bloc. So bloc here is exactly in parlance in international relation the same as Western bloc against Eastern bloc in bipolar system. You remember at that time two great power, two superpowers were fighting each other, clashing each other, right? So the question Huntington brought to us, Samuel Huntington, in his book, in his very wonderful book, A Clash of
Class of
Civilization.
civilizations, yes.
Yeah, Clash of Civilization. He encountered a very crucial question. Now, after Soviet Union, who comes to clash with us? Liberal democracy. Who will come to clash us to clash with us? And he gives two answers, and both came true. He said first, cynic civilization. By cynic, he means China. And remember now the tension between China and the United States. Number one, cynic civilization and Islamic civilization. By Islamic civilization, as he predicted, he was referring to my understanding. He was referring to the Ummah. But he didn't know this term at that time. It was me who came from the heart of the a Muslim society in Shia Islam, in Shia society, in a revolutionary country under Khomeini, then after under Khamenei, and I have studied. I have been in seminary studies. I have also studied seminary studies whose clergy goes and studies. So because of that, my Arabic was perfect. I could go to the Quran, and I noticed that the term ummah, not state, the term ummah is referred to 46 times in Quran. 46 times. In that sense, the concept of ummah, no matter who you are, where you are, no matter whether you are Iranian, Arab, Turks, Malaysian, or whatever, the concept of the ummah is that we are one single ummah and we have duty to bring others to our religions, to invite them to our religion. In shorthand, the ummah says that there is one God, because Islam is monolithic religion. It's that there is one God and there is one state. And there should be only one ruler. Of course, in Sunni interpretation, they say that ruler is the caliph, so they want to bring the caliphate system again back. In Shia protection of Khomeini, that that ruler is the Wali Faqih, Velayat Faqih. You know this term. So here, things comes clear. The clouds goes away. I am revolutionary. And you're diplomats. Go do your jobs. I am revolutionary. I am against this international system because I am the leader of this ummah. So all this is uh, in the content, in the concept of ummah that I have put 5 years of my efforts. So to bring this idea for the Westerners to read this book, because almost Easterners, I mean Muslims, they have some idea about the Ummah, but to put it in parlance of international relation, so I said the Ummah in brackets, one single Muslim bloc to go into clash with that civilization of democracy in
So,
West.
based on Westerners, like you said, and the Samuel Huntington's Clash of Civilizations, as well as the concept of the Ummah, what should American officials, keep in mind when they're entering talks with the Iranians, who you're describing, the state as revolutionary? What advice do you have for them, the Americans?
Very good question. Very important question. Actually, I have tried to highlight this fact that fighting with political Islam has two ways: harsh way and soft way. In the harsh way, people are fighting that whoever Muslims or whoever mosques should be destroyed. The same system that in the Soviet Union. But the soft process or method is that I intensively and very comprehensively discussed two Muslim scholars who believed in non-political Islam, and they are Ali Abdul Razik from Egypt and Mahmoud Muhammad Taha. 100 years ago, they were expecting that this political Islam will come and destroy their countries, Sudan and Egypt, and the region. And they wrote books about this. Of course, I cannot go to the details. Of course, the book is available on Amazon, but I came to this understanding that not enough not enough efforts is done to introduce non-political Islam, because whoever now hear about the Islam comes that Islam in the religion of jihad, which is true. The Islam is the religion of fighting and believing that the God should rule on the earth. But of course, God cannot come rule on the earth. Somebody should represent him on the earth. And in Sunni interpretation of political Islam, they say that is the Khalifa or Caliph. And in Shia interpretation of Khomeini school, it is Imam Ummat and the Wali Faqih, which is today there is a guy who is saying, I am that rope. I am that rope between sky and earth. So this is they believe. They believe that there should be a religious man, a sacred man, a divine man who is the rope, is the rope between sky, representing God on earth. In briefly, I'm saying that the idea is that the idea comes from the day Muslim Brotherhood was formed in Egypt. 4 years after the collapse of the caliphate system in Ottoman Empire. So caliphate system in 1924 fade forever, but soon after that, the Muslim encountered a question, a very fundamental question, that for 1300 years there was a man under the name of caliph to connect us from earth to the sky. 1300 years, 13 centuries, and now there is no one. This for them means that on 2024 in modern Turkey, there is a body of Islam, but no head, a body with no head. In short, and in a nutshell, the idea of political Islam is to bring that head, back to this body. But there is two interpretation. One, according the Sunni school of Islam, and Shia denomination. So, and because of that, then I'll come to the second point of very significant point, that if they want to create the ummah, is that possible at all? My answer is it is a negative. It is not possible. But even if it is possible, then it means that there should be a fight between the society of Muslims, between Shia and Sunni, because no Shia believes that that divine person is Khalif, and no Sunni believes that divine person should be Ali Faqih. So there, it means in itself, it contains a potential for war between Muslims. So I am. This book, in fact, is an alarming book, Negar. It's an alarming book, and once again, I emphasize that I have written it for the Westerners. I have written it for those who are not familiar with this term. It needs that you have full knowledge of the Islam, Quran, Sunnah, and Hadith, all this, and then you can interpret it in a language of international relation, so that a Westerner can understand what you mean and what they mean by by creating the ummah. I hope
That's
that I
very
was.
valuable. Yeah, of course, that's very valuable. And so, if you were an American diplomat entering those negotiations, what would you tell them to be thinking as they're, what kind of mindset to keep in mind in terms of how what the Iranians are thinking? Like, what would you tell them in short?
In short, as you said, in nutshell, if the Western society was to be able to bring the ideology of Islam to the theology of Islam, that is the moment of a because successfulness. Because uh, as a theology, Islam is a religion beside Christianity and Judaism and other religion, talking about your relation with your God. But as ideology, it's it's fighting to gain the power, political power, to bring the rule of the a man of God on earth, and then all these problems happened in Iran. And then you remember, this is not only the story in Iran; it's the story in Taliban as well.
So I have to
Story of
ask you,
the
Hossein, when they're
Daesh and ISIS.
sorry to interrupt. I just have to ask you, when the Iranians are entering negotiations, then do you see them as being ideological and not transactional? Like, are they going to go in thinking about sanctions reliefs, or how do you see, how important is the ideology for these as they go into negotiating with the Americans versus like the sanctions relief and the transactional aspect of it?
As a fundamental fact, as a fundamental fact, whatever they say, they believe in bringing Islam to the power in whole world against the Western liberal democracy. Okay, but the point is here that they use all the forces they need. They use all the forces they need. Just read the logo for the سپاه پاسداران for سپاه پاسداران چی میشه به انگلیسیش
IRGC. Yep.
IRGC. So there is written that أعدوا لهم ما استطعتم من قوة. There is verses from Quran saying, clearly saying, that prepare yourself with whatever so elements and instruments you need, with whatsoever elements, instruments you need. This is written on the logo of the IRGC. So in fact, the fundamental fact is that the propelling force for Islamists, no matter in Khamenei or ISIS or Taliban or whatsoever, the propelling force is their ideology. So as far as their ideology is forcing them ahead, so all the other things is just diplomacy. As I've said, Khamenei clearly said, "You are diplomats and you do your jobs. I am a revolutionary," and he cannot make himself far from his ideology. He is created like this, and uh, there are there are elements I have shown that he has translated three items of Sayyid Qutb's book into Farsi when he was 20, 30 years old. 20, 30 years old, he translated three books of the Sayyid Qutb. Sayyid Qutb is the person who was executed in his country because of his very extremist ideology, which after from the idea of Sayyid Qutb comes the Al Qaeda. From the ideology of Sayyid Qutb comes the ISIS and the other too many other Islamists. And also, although in Iran it is Shia country, this Shia country is also affected by the ideology of Sayyid Qutb. And by the way, he was executed in his country, but in Iran, after the revolutionary, they issued stamp for him.
Wow, I didn't know
They
that.
issued for his stamp. Yeah, yeah, I have the picture here in the book. They issued a stamp for him as a martyr, as a martyr. And the time this stamp was issued was the time Ali Khamenei was the president of Iran at that time. He was behind the idea that Islamic post office to issue a stamp for Sayyid Qutb to announce him as a martyr. So imagine that he is not welcome in his country, his motherland, and he's welcomed warmly in Iran. So here is that we can understand the mindset and psychology of Ali Khamenei.
So then why did he, I'm glad you mentioned Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Just a month ago, he was tweeting, on X rather, that, no negotiations with America, who he refers to as the Great Satan. Why now is he posting on social media suddenly that the positive talks in Oman? Why the sudden change? Was he under pressure? Is he losing some of his own power? What's going on here?
Because it is um, ideology, flexible ideology, although extremist, but flexible, and using and making lies. It's not a matter in this ideology. You can say any lie, no matter. You can create lies. And the other issue is that, of course, the reality is dictating on him that in this situation, internally, because of the economic problems inside Iran and the and tension almost with many parts of the world, particularly with Israel and the United States, and nowadays with the European Union as well. So, in to be in tension with this many countries of the world while your economy is collapsing inside Iran, so you have to make a trick. You have to make a trick. And what is that trick? Even even forgetting whatever you said, that it is a Satan, it is a great Satan. No, we don't go to negotiation with him. Let me quote him. Let me quote him on the day he visited Shinzo Abe, Prime Minister of Japan, in the President Trump's first term in office, visited Iran, bringing a letter from Trump to Khamenei. He rejected to take it, and on that day he said so. I quote: "I don't consider Trump as a person worthy of exchanging message with, and I have no answer for him now and in future. So what happened to him? Here is a good question. We can answer this question: that what happened? Why he is flexible? Let me clarify something. 5 points. The fifth one, which will be very interesting and kind of joke for you, would be like, it sounds like a joke for you. First of all, during shuffling the message between Tehran and Washington, what happened? Number one, he received the letter. Previous time didn't. Second, he responded. Previous time rejected. Third, and very crucial point, he himself signed the letter. I mean, none of his men, like Pezeshkian as a president or speaker of parliament, no, none of his men signed. No, he himself. So it sounds that this is very important for him, that he himself to involve himself to respond to President Trump. Number four, he responded and he offered that let's go to negotiation. Of course, indirect negotiation. And fifth, this is very, this is very, it sounds like a joke. Was Arachi, after the initial session in Oman, he said that because it was supposed that to be indirect negotiation, but he said that, well, suddenly after the meeting was over, then for a few minutes we Iranian and American side, we chant greetings and hello, how are you, for a few minutes. Here comes my point. I asked Abbas Araghchi that in one single meeting, after the session, you go to greetings, hello, how are you, with Mr. Witkoff. So what happened to you? How come that during month discussing with Robert Malley in Biden's administration, months of negotiation, not even one single time you went for the greetings with him, hello, how are you? So what happened to you, man? That this time you go to the a special envoy of President Trump, who is threatening you. Biden never started, I mean, they never used the language of force, tone of coercion, nothing of this. So logically, if you want to go to say, hello, how are you? You have to go to that one, to Robert Mueller, not to a special envoy President Trump. So here's the joke. So we have, in general, we've seen a dramatic change in behavior of Khamenei, receiving the letter, responding, signing, going to negotiation, and even greetings between the two sides. So we have to find the answer why. We have to
And
find answer why.
why? Yeah, why?
If you why? So two reasons. I mean, two series of elements, internally and externally. Externally, I can say that now they consider the President Trump won the election, I mean, very successfully. Individual votes, electorals, Senate, and House, all. This means that whatever he makes, whatever decision he wants to make, whether to go to war with Iran or make peace with Iran, or making sanction relief, whatever. He has the power in office and in the Congress, right? This
Very
was not
good
in
point.
the
Yeah.
hand of the yeah. This was not in the hand of the Obama or Biden. So they could say even only we can lifting sanction that posed by the president, but not the sanction posed by the Congress. Now he has everything in hand. Also, he has the right I mean, to go to war and take the green light from the Congress, which the Congress is beside him. This is number one. Number two, there is a kind of tension between Iran and EU. In his first term in office, it was not the relation between Iran and EU was quite good, quite understandable. Even the EU was standing beside Iran, rejecting Trump's decision to pull out from the JCPOA. But today, it's EU that is also putting sanction on Iran because of the nuclear issue and because of the Ukraine war, for both of them. Nuclear issue, and it is EU that nowadays are threatening that we will use snapback mechanism. It's EU now. So this is second point. The third element is that very challenging circumstances in the region after the October 7th. Many things happened, changed. Many things had changed. Remember what happened to Hassan Nasrallah, what happened to Ismail Haniyeh. Remember what happened to Bashar Assad. Remember what happened in almost Hashd al-Sha'bi in Iraq. Also what is happening for, so Iran's policy, of course, when I say in the entire interview, when I say entire Iran, I mean the regime in Iran.
Of
Let me
course,
make
yes.
it
Thank you for
clear, because
clarifying.
Iran is the country that I love it. So the regime in Iran, they know that um, we cannot be in tension with the United States, with European Union, with Israel, which is threatening us. Okay, and also, the Arabs of the Persian Gulf are not happy with any escalation in the region. So, four reasons in as the category I consider it as the external propelling force to go to this behavior change of Khamenei, going to discuss with Khamenei, changing greetings. And second point, I mean, the other category is in my understanding is internal constraints, internal constraints, by which I mean that first, economic crisis in Iran, just as a one single sign. Remember that the devaluation of the Iran currency recently, it rocketed up to 1 million reals, 1 million reals
It's unbelievable,
per
yeah.
$1, per one. Just one single example. So there are a lot of other examples. Also, based on the economic crisis in Iran, uh, popular discontent, between people. Um, you hear every day that what people are protesting on every issues of their daily life. So when tomorrow you wake up, uh, prices jumps up, rockets up. So there is really this popular discontent I mean the disconnection between the government and people. So they don't have the support of people, the majority of people. And the other elements for sure is avoiding war, whether with United States or Israel. Because remember that even though uh, regime in Iran attacked Israel by missiles two times, launching some 500 missiles in two rounds, but they didn't attack harmfully, so harshly to kill people. And so they were aware, okay, we attack to so keep our face, our eyebrow, so, but we need that not to make very harm to the Israeli civilians, people, normal, ordinary people. Even at that time, they have been very I mean, cautious about how to react. So avoiding war is another fact. And remember, this is very important. This very crucial matter of Khamenei's psychology. Yesterday, he turned 86. Yesterday, he turned 86. And from this 86, he is in power for 36 years, right? Right?
Correct.
During all these 30 years in power at the highest level as the commander in chief, he didn't go to any war. Yes, of course, out of Iran, beyond the borders, in Syria, in Lebanon, in proxies. Yeah, he was manipulating all things, but he avoided to enter Iran to war. For example, when Taliban in their first round in office, when Taliban killed 11 Iranian diplomats in Mazar Sharif, it was the time people were asking Khamenei, okay, to go and retaliate. But finally, he didn't. Or remember when Qasem Soleimani was killed, people around, I mean, too many people of his followers chanting, okay, go and revenge against.
He didn't do
So,
anything, yeah. And he didn't do anything with
he
Bashar al
didn't
Assad. When Bashar al Assad was falling, he didn't.
Bashar al-Assad. Here comes the difference between Khamenei. The point is this: the difference between Khamenei and Khomeini. Negar, when Khomeini stepped his down in Iran, in less than 2 years, the war between Iran and Iraq erupted, broke out. Everybody says that it was possible that we avoid that war. But Khomeini was a harsh person and declaring and sending message to the Iraqi soldiers, leave your places, fight against Saddam Hussein. He was the propelling force that this war to happen. Of course, the war started on the hand of Saddam Hussein, no doubt on that. But Khomeini psychology was like that to make challenge, bring challenging things between within 2 years, less than 2 years. Khomeini 36 years in power, but didn't go to the war. So this is his psychology. This is psychology. So
That's a fascinating point.
another point is yeah. So another point that he wants to avoid what going to war with Israel, with United States, or probably with the European Union. And the last point is that by offering this very prestigious way of negotiation, and today, some details came out to what has happened in the first session in Oman. Maybe we'll talk about later. With this, he is um, pretending that a rational method. So showing that, well, look at me. I'm a very peaceful man. I want to come to negotiation with you and to settle down all problems. So you see, to show that that he is a rational person, or he has a rational psychology. Whereas in fact, we know that he is similar to Khomeini, but the only thing is that to avoid war. But did he change anything in the theology and the ideology of Islam? Saying that okay, we could be in good relation with the Western society, Western I mean good relation with the Western civilization. Always he's attacking. Many times he used the word enemy, war, dushman. But suddenly he changed all the course. That is what we have seen in recent days. Suddenly he changed all. He was the man who said, whoever paraphrase or of negotiating with that great Satan, he is dishonorable person,
And now they're doing just that.
right? Now he himself answered, and he himself signs the letter. That was the point I said. Signing the letter by himself is, for me, is a very crucial sign that you are writing to Satan. You are writing to a country that can هیچ غلطی نمیتواند بکند, can do no hell at all. So by now you're going to negotiate with him. And beyond that, we've heard that even probably as a trick, even they are offering that You American are welcome to Iran to invest some billions of dollars in our society. How come this dramatic change in very short time? Because Trump is less than 3 months in office, not too long. In short time, you are changing all the course. What happens to you? So, to my understanding, there are two series, two categories, as I explained to you, externally and internally, as I'll try to open it up to you.
And so that goes back to, is the Islamic Republic more concerned with survival than, as you phrased it, the flexible ideology at this point? And how do the hardliner base, what are they thinking and how will they react? Because there is a hardliner base too.
Hardliners, listen, there were hardliners attacking JCPOA, saying that how we as a revolutionary country, how we go to negotiate and sign an agreement with the great Satan. So they were calling themselves as Delvapasan, I mean, those who are concerned about this JCPOA. But why do not talk now? What, none of them? None of them. Why we are going again to discuss with the great Satan, in which the Trump is in the office. The Trump who's killed Qasem Soleimani, and the Trump who withdraw his country out of the JCPOA. None of them are saying anything against this. Uh, so, in fact, the matter is the matter of survival. They know this is a real game. After years and years of chanting death to the United States, death to the United States, burning the flag and things like that, now this is the moment. Either you have to stand on your position firmly to fight that Satan in your missionary duty to bring the ummah, to bring the ummah. So you stand firmly to bring your idea in reality, but in fact, they say that it is not possible at all. So what should we do? Okay, now we change the course. We forgot whatever we said. Even the leader, the supreme leader, the imam, the imam of ummah, suddenly he changes the course because he understands that now he's in bad term with the EU. He's in very tensional, escalating situation with Israel, which wants to revenge, with a very critical relation with the President Trump himself, which is within 3 months. Imagine that. Remember that how many sanction he has added to the others. So the situation would be more critical in Iran. So and the devaluation of real would be mounting and rocketing out. So everything goes. So the idea of survival of this ideology is in fact for this changing course, I think.
So do you think at some point then this hardline base is going to stop believing in the message of this Islamic Republic, much like you also, you stopped believing in, like you said, Khomeini and whatnot? What do you think they're thinking?
You will be surprised if I tell you that from my colleagues now working inside the system and foreign ministry of Iran, they are in contact with me. They feed me with a lot of analysis, news, developments of what is happening inside the embassies, inside in the headquarters in Tehran. um, I am not connected to the military section, but I'm pretty sure it is the same in the military section. I'm pretty sure in many other branches, fields, and other sections, because as I've said to you, I was 13, but I cannot be that naive 13-year-old boy as I was on that time back 45 years ago. I cannot remain naive. So changes come to me, and change came to millions, millions. Let me not bad if I bring up these figures for you.
Yeah, tell me.
Negar, yeah, remember Negar at the day of triumph of the Iran's revolutions back in 1979. The whole population of Iran was some 35 millions, men and women, 35 million. And today, the whole population is 90, half of them are women. Means that what? Means 45. Only women, only women today outnumber the population in 1979. And more interesting more interesting and more significant than that is that from these 45, perhaps you are among them, many of 85% of that 45 are born after 79. They didn't see Khomeini. I have seen him, but you didn't. You didn't. So
Not at
I
all.
was
No, no, no,
correct.
no. I'm definitely after 79.
After 39. So remember that 45 millions we outnumbered 79 people at that time believing in Islam, believing in Khomeini, considering him as a man of God. He will bring a good situation for Iran. But in reality, things happen. So, well, people will understand that how things are going. He wants to be Imam of Ummah, and he doesn't believe to Iranians' borders. Yeah, I forgot to tell you. When you talk about the Ummah, you believe that all the borders should be removed. So imagine how dangerous this idea is to remove the borders which people fought for that. You fought for your country's borders, I fought for my country's borders. So once you come and say there should be one single ummah, then one single ummah has no borders. So this means that the concept of ummah is against the concept of nation state system. And remember that nation state system based on Westphalia agreements goes back to 500 years ago. So Khomeini and all the ummatists, I call them ummatists, all those ummatists, whether Sunni or Shia, no matter, all believing in one single ummah, removing all the borders, going to fight the other party or other civilization, and beyond that, to fight against Westphalia system within 500 years of working this work. So imagine that how um, danger is this idea is. So I am frightened if when I read these ideas and I bring quotes from these Islamists that they are thinking so. So you have to take it serious. This is not only the matter of Iran under Khomeini, under Islamic Revolution. It is a matter more general because of that you have heard that too many too many Islamist groups get shaped and are getting shaped, no matter where in Iran or outside Iran. So this is a real matter, and uh, um, they cannot disconnect from the ideology of Islam. They cannot. They believe in this, and they think that it is the sacred duty to bring governance of God on earth. But the trick is here: God on earth cannot be. So somebody should represent. And who is that? I will say me, you will say you. I will say Imam, you will say Khalifa. Okay, you see, here's the trick.
You mentioned your friends in the foreign ministry currently in Iran. Obviously you still have connections. What are they telling you?
everything, everything, as much as they provide me with everything, particularly with something new happening and or decision they're probably making. Honestly, I'm not saying that I am very well connected to every parts of the foreign ministry here and there, all branches of the Iran embassy. No, 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 no. I'm an ordinary people, but my friends, I mean friends that who are thinking same as me, who who were born before Islamic Revolution, and changes came to them as well, like as me, like as millions of them, and they are afraid of this country, this lovely country of Iran. So do they know that this diplomacy is just deceiving, as Khamenei said. With your diplomats, go do your diplomacy. It means deceiving the other countries. So how long this can work? How long saying lies can work for our country? Because of that, so if they can, they find me here and there. Nowadays, it's not difficult, and they bring for me some information. I'm not saying that very sensitive information. No, 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 no. But just we change idea. We change idea, and particularly we change analysis. The viewpoints I have, they have. So some kind of relation, some kind of the negotiation, some kind of the connection we have.
So this takes me to
That's
the
not
heart.
sensitive.
Of course, yeah, no, this takes me to the heart of the issue is, and this may seem seemingly obvious question, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but what does the Islamic Republic of Iran, the government, want then out of these negotiations? And are the diplomats who are meeting with Witkoff and these individuals and the Omanis, etc., are they thinking the same as Ayatollah Khamenei that you described, his kind of his ideology, or is there a disconnect here? Like, what does Iran want? And again, the government of Iran.
Oh, good question. Probably from here we can enter to what was released today. That what was the content of the discussion on the initial session in Oman? You
Yes, yes. So
follow the news?
it's an Iran international exclusive. We're reporting that there's a 3-stage plan in place, and that they're going to potentially cap enrichment in exchange for sanctions relief.
Yeah, in nutshell like that. Uh, now now that we may have the content of the first round of the negotiation offered by Iranian side. So when I went through the all this content, I've seen that all is about the nuclear, nothing beyond the nuclear. So here I itemize something. Nothing about the normalization with Satan. No normalization. Remember China and United States, they were also in very tension relation with each other. When Nixon visited China with Pepsi diplomacy, you remember, with the Pepsi diplomacy, Chinese opened the door. So economic relation as the base for political relation, for diplomatic relation, right? But here they offer all the way that how to settle these problems, your concern. Okay, we're flexible. We do this, you do that. Okay, but but then so what? Would be any normalization between us? No, 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 no. You are still that great Satan. Still great Satan. Just we settle this problem. Number one. Number two. No, no offer regarding the proxies. You don't see anything talking. They talk about the proxy. Why? Because Khamenei uh, 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 naively recently said that, well, we don't have any proxy. They are doing on their own. There are people in Yemen, in Lebanon, in Syria. They are doing all on their own. We don't have any proxy. Whereas his generals before had said that we are ruling in 4 Arab countries, 4 Arab capitals: Beirut, Damascus, Iraq, and Sana'a. This is what was said by his general. Now he says, "Well, we don't have," naively, naively he's saying that so that he thinks that we believe him. So in this offer, as came up from Iran International, no talking, nothing about the proxy, and more importantly, and more crucially, nothing about the Israel. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Israel is real that we know, because a point. Let me clarify this very important point. I was asking myself that Iran and US are not in good relation in diplomatic disconnection, but I was asking why happens sometimes happen that American wrestlers, wrestler visited Iran, and Iran sang, singing the national anthem of the United States. Also, Iranians, sportsmen, athletes go and visit the United States. We're in this connection, but we do these things. Like, why never even going to a chess game with Israel? Because we don't have diplomatic relation. No, we don't. You don't have the diplomatic relation with the United States. It's because Khomeini and Khamenei harshly believing, firmly believing, wholeheartedly believing there is no Israel existing. There is no Israel existing at all. This is a fake country. And so, how my wrestlers, how my athletes go to fight with a country doesn't exist? How? How possible? This is the core of their ideology. This is the core of their ideology. Now, back to in what we hear from this offer. Do you hear anything about the uh, your normal? De-escalation, at least de-escalation with Israel. Just de-escalation, like Pakistan. Pakistan doesn't believe in Israel, doesn't have any economy or any cooperation with Israel. But you can be normal people, you can normal country, believing that there is a country existing, but I don't want to have a relation with. The question in Iran is that they don't believe the country exists at all. Not only doesn't exist, what is existing, we have to demolish it, wipe out. So here's the point. And lastly, in what they offer today, we don't see anything about the human rights. Absolutely not. And here's another point, very significant point. Let me bring it to you. I was asking myself that Iran always um, claims that my nuclear program is peaceful. To show that my nuclear is peaceful, they welcomed inspectors from IAEA as the special agency for nuclear. They welcomed 100 years, or maybe probably thousand hours, or 100 hours. You're welcome to Iran. All right. So here is the question: if you are commitment to welcome inspectors from IAEA to come and visit your program to show that it is peaceful, then why you don't welcome a special reporter of another agency to come to Iran only for one day, only for 1 hour, only for 1 minute? Absolutely, they don't allow them to come. So here's the point. To my understanding, Negar, To my understanding, the nuclear program is like this: switch on, switch off, switch on, switch off. You see, it's a program. Switch on, switch off. I can, as the Iranian regime, I can switch it off. So you'll be happy with me. But what about the human rights? Is it switch off, switch off, switch off? No, absolutely. It has no switch off. No switch off at all. So in nutshell, my understanding of today's what is released today is that it talks all about the nuclear issue and nothing else. And the devil is in details.
So you think, based on what you're saying, that they would just want to kind of switch it off for now, but then switch it on back on later, is what you're saying. They're not really giving up on it, are they? Or wouldn't?
Of course, they don't want to give it up. Of course, whenever they can come back, why not to come back? Why not to switch it off, switch it on again? Why not? As I said, it's written in the logo of the IRGC. Prepare yourself with whatsoever weapon you need, whatsoever.
And this is the
So everything is
whatsoever, right?
clear.
To survive, right?
You know what's wrong? Yeah.
That's very interesting. And what do you make of the Qataris in Russia, the Saudis in Iran? That's pretty significant. How do you read that?
Yeah, and also visiting of Arakshi to Moscow as well. You have
Yes,
added
as
to
well.
that,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can say what I make of that. Um, First of all, I think the Arabs of Persian Gulf are very concerned of the language of threatening from both sides. You know, they are a rich country. Um, 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 Capital capital needs to atmosphere to be very calm. If there is tension, then how their very active economy can work. So this is the first angle that they want um, want. In fact, I mean, the defense minister of Saudi Arabia visited Iran, in my understanding, to request the supreme leader to do his best for de-escalation. This is number one. Number two, most probably, Saudi Arabia has a very problematic matter of the Yemenis, Houthis. So he wants to mm, request the hand of the Iranians somehow to settle it rather than this tension to continue, because there is they could manipulate the trading, water trading. So it is a big matter for the all the region, all the world. So probably the question of the Yemen is second purpose of the defense minister to visit Tehran. But regarding the visit of Abbas Irakci to Moscow, which is more significant, I think uh, there is what I can read. What I can read from is that um, Russians so far signaled that if something bad happened, I mean, strike, war, things like that, we would not interfere in this matter. So here is a problematic matter for Khamenei, writing to Vladimir Putin. How come? When you were in war on Ukraine, we were standing beside you. Now the war is coming on us. So you are signaling that you are not standing by us. So probably this is where the message he's going to write to. And secondly, and this take, um, as I guess, could be right because even Steve Witkoff visited Moscow before going to initial session to on in Oman. So he also believes that things should be first settled in Moscow. Or let me make myself clear, Negar. Something important I think I want to make here. Look, um, I, as President Trump, when I'm in office, I see there are three uh, crisis for me in Iran, in in four crises: Iran, Yemen, Gaza, and Ukraine. Right? Four crises. My reading of Trump's foreign policy is that Trump's views and sees all these four crises as what is called communicating whistles in physics. If you have in physics, there are sets. Yeah, there are sets of containing sets of one, two, three, four containing each one containing homogeneous fluid. And if you put water in this one, would be equal to on the same other one. So this is called the containing vessels, communicating vessels. Okay, in general, in short, in nutshell, it is saying that what happens in this one would happen on the other one, and what would happen in the second one would happen effect on the third one, and so on and so forth. So, uh, because of this, you see, the special envoy on Gaza is what Witkoff. The special envoy on Ukraine is Witkoff. A special envoy on Iran is also who?
Witkoff. It's all Witkoff.
so, so this means that they are considering in Washington, in the White House, they are considering all these problems as a communicating vessels, each one affecting on each other one. So it is not one single separate problem that I go to find to dissolve this problem and then go to solve the other problem. No, 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 no. They are interconnected with each other. So having said that, it comes clear for us why Mr. Witkoff first visited Russia before going to Oman, and why Abbas Araghchi goes to visit Russia before going to second round in Roma, and so on and so forth. This is my take.
So, do the Russians have a lot to gain or lose in this?
Uh, they have to. I mean, they are a player. They are a player. They can use the United States knows that Russia, although uh, um, pretend that I wouldn't interfere in any escalation with Iran, but who knows? Maybe we would interfere in that case. We don't know. We are not sure. We have to go and check it with Putin, how he's thinking. Also, for Khamenei, it is very problematic that how, in this very critical situation, that we have stand beside you in the Ukrainian war, now you are not supporting me. You scratch my mind. I scratch your mind. I scratch your back. You scratch my back. So you see, this is probably the purpose of Araghchi's visit to Russia. And of course, a lot of development is happening, and many of them are not clear for us. We have to wait and to see what would happen, particularly in the second round of negotiation in between Iran and United States.
It's fascinating. And you were talking about Russia, so thank you. That was an interesting perspective. And I know I've kept you for a long time, but you're just so fascinating. I want to keep talking to you. I have two more questions that I'd really like to ask. Number one, you talked about Khamenei and kind of his ideology and mindset, but what of that of like people representing him right now? What do you think, for example, Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi? Do you think he's a real negotiator, or do you think he's also having this issue of ideology at the back of his mind? What do you think of individuals like that?
Of, of course, no matter, even if I was representing Iran in this situation, in this round of negotiation, I would have worked practicing same as hierarchy, because the ideology is the propelling forces behind everybody who is working in this system. But someone believes, someone doesn't believe. But no matter, even you don't believe, you have to follow the rules. You have to follow the orders. You cannot, forget the orders. So I think that first of all, I'm sure that he is representing Khamenei, not Pezeshkian, because Pezeshkian is no one. He is no one at all. He has only the title of the president, but the president in Iran doesn't mean the president in the United States. So he's representing Khamenei because Khamenei signed the letter to Trump. Khamenei is the one who is sending letter to Putin, not Pezeshkian, not Speaker of Parliament. And he is just representing what he takes orders from Tehran. Um, what I am I'm confident about is that in in Islamic Republic, in Islamic establishment of Khamenei, they are all aware that to have avoid any bad circumstances to come for survival of this system. This is an agreed matter for all of them. And they know, beyond that, they know that President Trump, for his first 100 years in office, should bring something for people, should bring a report card, isn't it? Should bring a report card for his first 100 years in office. Yeah, and he has opened a lot of fronts with Canada, with Greenland, with tariffs, with Russia, with with Ukraine, with France. But can he bring any brilliant gold achievement during for his first 100 years about the Canada, about Greenland, about tariffs? No. But what about a weaker system? I mean, the system in Iran. He's quite aware that how how weak the political system in Iran. As I said, there is popular discontent between people and the government, devaluation of the real, and so on and so forth. I clarified all of that. So I think that President Trump is in hurry. You understand it from his tone, his language. He uses language. Yeah, come on, be hurry. You know, so he has to bring something for his first 100 days in office. Nothing about the Canada, Greenland, or so on and so forth. What about Iran? He believes that he can bring something,
Do you think he can?
whether peacefully, uh, for 100 days, because 100 days is just 2 weeks away, 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away. Just in 2 weeks, he can bring that. I'm not confident that he can make it within 2 weeks, unless that to go to a airstrike on Iran, which that one is also very problematic for himself, for his country, because this is important about Trump. He has used the very illustrious title of President of Peace for himself. It's very illustrious that I'm President of Peace. I'm not President of War. I'm not George Bush. Illustrious title. So if within 100 days you go to such a strike that could trigger all the escalation in the region, then you are not that president of peace. Okay, yeah, can go strike against the Yemenis. It's they cannot do it. But the case of Iran is quite different. We have to be aware that this really can trigger a lot of problems for the region. Same as when you have uh, uh, um, uh, uh, withdraw you have uh, bring down Saddam Hussein, although his regime was very weak on the last days, but it brought a lot of the challenges for the region. Daesh, ISIS, and all these extremist Islamist groups came out of the collapse of the Saddam Hussein. Remember that one. So it is not a simple matter. Just within 2 weeks, you can solve this problem. I mean, just like this. I doubt. I don't believe, but we have to see.
And as someone, to conclude, as someone who was once part of this establishment, and clearly you oppose it now, what do you want to happen between the US and Iran? Do you want to see it go to negotiations and potentially a détente, or do you want to see some strong action against the Islamic Republic establishment? What do you want?
You know what? We, as those who was affiliating to this system, now we firmly believe that any day this system to be ruling in Iran is more damage for Iran for any aspects. For environment, for example, they have created a lot of environment, and I mean normal life of people. So we believe this system should be gone, but the path to that goal is important for us. Probably, if I want to answer your question very briefly and clearly, what I can say in nutshell is not more than what Prince Reza Pahlavi said. If you want to put maximum pressure on the regime in Iran, that's good, but maximum support should be beside. And we don't think that the Europeans, Americans, are thinking about the maximum support of Iranian because many things can happen from inside the country. Remember, just recently, Khamenei, in his last speech, somewhere he said that those, Americans, they want to threaten us, or probably they want to bring war against us, but we're not afraid of that. We are not afraid of that. But we are aware that they want to trigger and manipulate enrollment as turmoil, sorry, to bring turmoil inside the system, inside in the streets. People come to the street, and we are about that. And he said the people will answer to those extremists. He's aware that if anything would threaten the survival of his nasty system, is only and solely is from inside. All right. So for that, maximum pressure, okay, but where is the maximum support? We haven't heard about that. So in nutshell, what I can bring to your question is not more than what was said by the Prince Reza Pahlavi.
Well, thank you so much again. That's Hossein Alizadeh. I learned a lot from you and I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you again for your time. Very grateful.
Thank you for having me in your program, Nagar.
Now, if you like this episode, hit the like button. Also, leave us a comment. We'd love to know what you think. The Eye for Iran podcast series is brought to you by Iran International, the go-to destination for expert Iranian news in both Farsi and English. For more, head to our dedicated English website, iranintl.com/en.